Some luxury beachside apartments. We got to style all 3 apartments on the same day at the same time. All right guys, so we are back with another Foxy Face Off. Traditionally we take one stylist and pin them up against another stylist. This time we thought we'd level it up and do 3 at one time. We had a really exciting opportunity. We were called by Ray White. They equally had an exciting opportunity where they were able to put forward a tender to take for 32 apartments that went to a receivership. The real estate side of things, apparently you put forward a tender, but multiple people can put forward the tender and then they award it to somebody. And they were really surprised to hear that they had been awarded, and they were really excited. As always, then everybody wants to move really, really quickly. So they've really put the thumb on the button and said go. So I was at the museum and I was taking my kids to the Science Museum, and I got a phone call and said they needed it done by next Friday. As we always do, we say okay, and we make it, we figure it out later. So within a week, we were able to get all 3 styled. Now, which properties? There's 32 of them. Now, there was a good discussion I had with Jay, talking about which ones he's going to get styled. So he had to get in there. Some of them are tenanted. There was a whole situation. But basically, the philosophy behind it. So we've got 3 apartments. We've got an 8, Unit 8, 10 and 30. Now, Unit 8 is a 2-bedroom unit. Unit 10 is a 3-bedroom unit. And then Unit 30 is a split-level, beautiful penthouse style apartment. And it's got 2 living areas and a really gorgeous space. As far as an apartment goes, it's very generous in floor space. So very much covered all of the bases as far as which apartments were styled. Now, this is actually a conversation I have with multiple of our owners, particularly in multi-site dwellings, where you've got 4 apartments or you've got 6 apartments. Which ones do we style? Now, when we're talking about, we're really looking at how do I ensure that when I'm styling, I get the very best with my dollar with the styling to ensure that the sale price is higher. Now, that sounds like a no-brainer. And we have very often been asked to style the very best apartment and make it look even better. But what that's doing is allowing the not so great apartment to sell at a much lower price and set a benchmark, a lower benchmark for the buyers to be able to work off. So when we're having these discussions with buyers and we're talking about which ones to style, my advice very much is if we have the ability to style multiple, awesome. But if we can only style one, my suggestion would be very much to focus on the one that is going to set that low benchmark. Because if we can bring that low benchmark up higher, you're going to get a better value from your styling, and then everything else in that apartment complex is going to be pushed up higher by default. We can then, once the very worst apartment sells, we can take that styling and do a unit shift. We can take it and put it into a different property within that complex to lift everything up again. But if we can focus on bringing the lower denominator up, then everything else is going to be benefited in doing so. So Jay very much had done that, achieved that with the spread of apartments that they had styled. We added one of the 2-bedroom, one of the smallest floor plan, and quite an awkward layout property. That one was styled. Tamsyn did a phenomenal job with that one. We went with more of a, I would say, plantation style rather than coastal style feel to it, and it came up beautifully. Very much when we style multiple properties, we do try to make them each unique in their own sense. We could have gone coastal in all 3. We could have gone for a luxe coastal, which we did do luxe coastal in one of them, but we could have done it and it would have suited the area perfectly. But what that does is the buyers look through all 3 and none of them stand out individually. So we try to make them unique in their own right. We then arrived on site and everything was all planned. It was all great to find out that we had 2 hours to get the install done before photography was scheduled. There was a slight miscommunication with us regarding the photography timeframes. So we worked together in those situations, worked together with both the agent as well as the photographer to be able to achieve a timeline that works for them. They're trying to do their very best. The photographer's working in to do their very best, and we can only do the same rather than being put out and being negative about it. What the plan was, the way that ended up working, it was no longer a 3-way Foxy Face Off. We had a 3-way, everybody, all hands in, all hands on deck, get everything working so we can make the deadlines for the photographer. We worked on each individual apartment, made sure it was ready to go so the photographer could start at one of them, and then we made our way through the others. I believe we did unit 8 first. We did 2 on the same level, and then we did everything as the furniture had to move up another elevator to finish it off. It came together beautifully. We had very happy customers at the end, and I really hope that it does the job to get it across the line, because there's 32 in total. We've styled 3, so there's plenty more opportunity there to set another benchmark. I believe, yes, the intent is to shift them across as they become vacant, because some of them are tenanted. They're not all vacant. Nope, the brief is all to us. So we've worked alongside Ray White up there for quite some time, and they allow us to make those decisions. They know that they love the end result every time we've been involved, so they trust us to produce something that they're going to love, and we didn't let them down. Well, I think given that you've got a 2-bedroom unit, and then I don't actually have the square meterage in front of me, but it was more than double across unit 8 to unit 30. There will be I don't see a first home buyer buying unit 30, but a first home buyer very much could afford what unit 8 might put forward. They will likely, I would say, still be professional couples. I don't see family buyer going through there. I don't think it is an apartment complex that there are other apartment complexes around that have more of the older demographic living there. So I would envision that you're still going to get younger couples. So yes, you will still, but I would say income levels will be different. We did go for a different level of finish, but still within the same realms of what we gave to Unit 10 and Unit 8. So what do I mean by that? I mean, we just went with the little touches of luxury in Unit 30 comparative to what we did in Unit 8 and 10. As I said, it's about setting your lower denominator to become higher when we're styling the property that we perceive as the worst. Now, if we had have styled all of the split level 3-bedroom beautiful apartments, and that's all we touched, what that does, we've already got a complete disproportionate comparison, because our floor size, our space is completely different. And we've made this apartment look phenomenal, and this one, where it's already small, it has a different view, it has a very pokey layout, and now we're presenting it empty, and we're taking away any sort of visionary opportunity for that person to go, hey, this could be better. And so we're positioning this one that's already amazing to be higher. This one, by default, it drops lower. And that's how your negotiating power works once somebody starts figuring out if there's a fear of missing out. Well, they don't want to miss out on this one, but hey, this one doesn't matter as much, so let's drop it down. So that's the whole basis that we work off. So whilst I would really, really love to ask you who your favourite stylist was today, whether it be Zsofia, Tamsyn or Jorja, the team actually did phenomenally to work together really, really well for this one. Came up absolutely beautiful. They worked really hard to get it done alongside the rest of the team. At the end of the day, it's all about what team our vendors put forward as to how well their property succeeds. And I think that these vendors are going to be very, very happy.